Have you ever spent the night at your grandparents' house and sometime in the afternoon your grandfather is sprinting towards the remote to turn on The Price is Right? And every once in a while Bob Barker or Drew Carey wheels out the plinko board? Yeah, that's when you know shit's about to get real. Nubby's Number Factory is the embodiment of that. You know that dopamine rush you get whenever the chip is dropped? That's what I'm talking about. Released sometime last year in the Big 25, you play as a living ball named Nubby. You're a new hire at a facility, meaning you need to reach a certain quota to stay afloat. To make things even worse, your job at the factory is somehow holding space and time together. So if you mess up even slightly, then boom goes the dynamite, baby. The fucking sun explodes. The game is based around rounds, 80 if you're playing the base game mode. These rounds are placed into zones, which change every 20 levels. These being the factory, the stratosphere, the moon, the sun temple, and the universe. You must fire Nubby into numbered pegs. Upon doing so, you are given the amount of points on said peg that is added to your quota that you must reach. Every passing round, the amount of points you must earn to complete the level, and the amount of points you get from popping a peg goes up. It's like a combination of that game 2048 that everybody with an Android had for some reason like 15 years ago, and Snood. It's like that with a twist. Once every few rounds have passed, you are greeted by the Nubby Mert. This is where you can put your measly paycheck to work for you by purchasing items that enhance your gameplay. Each of these items though only work if you meet the prerequisite. For example, pants require you to pop 10 pegs and in turn pops a random peg and gives you its points twice. Flamethrower requires you to do nothing but survive, and every 1 second will explode a maximum of 8 nearby pegs. The uranium rod requires you to pop 1 peg and in return emits a burst of nuclear waste. Items range from common to ultra rare. The higher the rarity, the higher the cost. Some of these items require you to have another item in order for said item to work. This is where things get complicated. For example, to trigger the evil goose, you need to pegs halved, meaning you need an item like Happy Seal, who after 8 pop pegs, smacks 2 random pegs, which are counted as pegs halved. In turn, triggering the evil goose, which will give points equal to the lowest number peg doubled. Also, if you buy 2 of the same item, you can stack them together to make a more powerful version of that item. Take Flaming Skull for example. Its default build has a 10% chance to cause a giant explosion that pops all pegs at once, and a 40% chance if you are on your last life. If this item is upgraded however, those odds are switched to 20% and 65% respectively. Have I lost you yet? You have 7 inventory spaces. Any after 4 needs to be purchased from the store for 5 gold points. After all are unlocked, you can now enter Cafe Nubby. Cafe Nubby contains food items that can be purchased with gold points. These also have the same rarity mechanic as the items. Food items range from the strawberry, which gives you 1 coin for every strawberry eaten this game, maxing out at 7 coins. The Pickle Rat, which allows you to gain +1 reroll upon returning to Nubby Mert, or Dave, who has a 50-50 chance of doubling your coins or removing any existing coins you may have. There are also perks that you can acquire the longer you play. These follow the same rules as items, but instead trigger something new. For example, the mystery box requires you to launch Nubby, and in turn, if slot 1 is empty, will select a random item from the Nubby Mert and force trigger it 3 times. This item disappears at the end of each round. Naturally, this is a risk seeing as the selection is completely random. The Warlock perk will force trigger any item you have with the Nubby Dies trigger after Nubby dies. Or the Lunar perk that force triggers items in slot 6 for every 7 rounds you have passed once Nubby dies. The game is like a long division equation. Once you think you're finished, you realize you forgot to carry the 2. So as you see, paying attention to literally every move you make is important, and in order to progress any amount whatsoever, you need to learn what items stack and make progress easier. That's what gets me. This game isn't like any other roguelike that I've played before, in a sense that once a build works, you stick to it every time and runs start getting progressively easier, because there really is no strategy. You can have an S-tier masterclass build, but at the end of the day, It all comes down to the luck of shooting a ball at some pegs. Shoot the ball slightly to the left and boom, you just threw away the perfect run. Grabatron is a claw machine that appears every so often. Each Grabatron contains 6 capsules, each costing 6 coins to collect. The gold capsules give you an amount of coins between 1 and 10, and the mystery capsule contain an item or a perk, ranging in rarity. The suspicious capsule, however, contains a suspicious key. Once purchased, the next shop you visit will prompt you to use the key on the black market. The black market allows you to select from one of 3 corrupted items. These items cannot be force triggered through any means and can only be activated under their own triggers. These range from Jake the Snake, who triggers after popping the first peg and gives you 1 in 2 chance to double all pegs. Alien, that requires you to double 2 pegs, and in turn gets a random peg to emit a Cosmo Blast. And when a peg is popped by the Cosmo Blast, it counts as 2 pegs instead of 1. And the Fishman, that triggers the most recently obtained perk. There are also random events. Usually these are in your favor. For example, Gold Rush, that gives you 1 coin per gold peg popped. Sneaky Snipers, that will pop the highest number peg when popped. And Booger Party, which will send out 2 snot shots that pops any peg it passes through when popped. Boss levels occur every 20 rounds. These range from Holiday Cheer, that when popped, all pegs copy this peg's number, which is like the run killer, to be honest. I don't know how many runs I started, only to be 60 levels deep and hit by a snow globe peg for 256 points and fucking me over entirely. The Ouch You Prick event that pops Nubby if the peg is fully popped. The I've Been Robbed boss event, which sells the item in your second inventory slot when popped. Honestly, as annoying as it could be, I haven't really had much trouble with it. When playing the game, you collect stars that are obtained by completing challenges and by beating boss events. These stars can be used to unlock item skins, new game modes, and things of that like. I'm gonna keep it $1.50. I didn't beat the first game mode once until I had a solid 12 hours played, and when I did, my final boss was Apocalypse, which has blood drops rain down from above, having the first peg they come in contact with. Surprisingly, this didn't affect me at all, and my build tanked it. You can also get the Tony boss, that has Tony shoot lasers from his eyes, and if it comes in contact with a peg, its number is reduced to 1. And despite quote-unquote beating the game, I still can't stop playing it. There's a fine line between just having fun shooting the shit and addiction. A fine line between throwing 20 on the slots and draining your child's college fund. And I've fallen off the deep end. But the issue is, I haven't improved at this game even slightly. I started just, throwing on a movie, opening Nubby's Number Factory and just mindlessly clicking. But then I got to a point where I realized I'd been playing the same 5-minute run for hours. And so I took it upon myself to actually pay attention, read what the prompts were saying, but still, it just didn't click. But for some reason beyond me, I can't seem to pry myself away from this game. I wrote and edited most of this before actually sinking my teeth into this game. My point still stands, don't get me wrong, but now instead of just crossing my fingers and praying for the best, I actually somewhat know what I'm doing. Since beginning this video, I went on from knowing nothing and being addicted to being half decent and being addicted. I've also gone on to beat the main game multiple times, as well as complete a lot of the challenges that the game gives you. Mind you, this doesn't include the other game modes, which I still hardly have touched. This is mostly in an attempt to collect as many stars as possible to unlock as much content as I can before burning out. Look, I'm not trying to shove this game down your throat, but I believe that if a man has $5 to spare and a 2-hour time frame to refund said $5 purchase in if he sees fit, what does said man have to lose trying said game out for himself? Gabish? This game is fucking awesome, dude. There's no other way to word it. Ba-boom! Thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, leave a video reply. Don't forget to refund that like button before 2 hours and or 2 weeks is up. Later.